Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. My name is CSU Infernal or Gavin, and we are continuing our last two videos of the what is a collegiate player think of LCS teams. Obviously there is two left and I am recording this. My whole monitor is shaking. I just moved to my desk. I'm recording this at like midnight my time. I'm gonna turn my mic down. I'm recording this at 12:40 my time. I was gonna record it tomorrow and set it to upload Wednesday. No, on Thursday. Um, but I cannot fall asleep and I've just been thinking about it for the past couple hours. So we're just gonna go ahead and record while I'm thinking about it. All right, cool. So obviously we are on Shopify Rebellion. The third, well, fourth newest team if you include Lion. The fourth newest team to the LCS. But the third newest org in the LCS being Disguised and Sentinels. Sentinels being the newest, obviously. Newest if you ignore Phoenix 6. Um, Obviously, we're going to give a couple of general comments. I think Shopify. So I'm going to do general comments before we even get to the roster. One, I'm kind of glad they kept Revan. I think Revan is a good coach and should be have a spot. I'm just curious how he's going to change this roster around him. Two, I mentioned in the last video talk about Sentinels, how good Sentinels is at content creation and how they're constantly posting out videos. And for Shopify Rebellion to do the merger with Moist Esports and have Moist Critical and Ludwig, and you guys posted nothing with this, that's wild to me. You had a video from FlyQuest posted talking about making fun of Ludwig and Shopify before Shopify even did anything with Ludwig. Like talking about their last series. I think even just like uploading VODs of like Ludwig watches Shopify play FlyQuest, and it's like just going to it's just a VOD of his like co-stream or whatever. That would be awesome. And you don't do that? What are we doing? Anyways, moving on. As always, top to bottom, Fudge is first and foremost. He is a he's an interesting player. He's a player I have a lot of respect for. I didn't realize a lot of this roster is very similar to me in age. But he's a player I have a lot of respect for and a lot of appreciation for, and I'm very glad that he has a team again. Obviously, he came from Oceania. He's Australia. He came from Air. After that whole region collapsed, he moves to Cloud9, where he runs the league like top lane, in my opinion, for about 3 years. Um, they had that stint where he went mid lane with what's his name? Was it who went top? Was it Summit? Yes, it was Summit. Oh, Darshan was top lane for a little bit, but yes, it was Summit for most of it, and they had Winsome in support. But then they bring in Sven, then they do the Diplex M&S. I'm still kind of disappointed in the whole Diplex situation. I will admit that's not this video. M&S comes in, they do pretty good, kind of crash out of worlds, and then they've just kind of been in this random stint for a bit, and then he goes to Shopify Rebellion now. So how's he on Shopify, and how do I think he'll perform? Well, as I said last time, I'm gonna try not to talk about old games that have already happened, like for this split, but I'm gonna have to for this. Um, Fudge performed Fudge is a very consistent performer. Good win rate, decent KDA, good CS per minute, gold percent, kill participation, it's pretty decent. He's usually behind, admittedly, but generally, when you're picking up a player like Fudge, it's not because you want him to be ahead, it's because you want him to go consistent. Consistency is so key to a lot of these players, in my opinion. And in my opinion, if you want a top laner that will just like consistently, he won't win lane all the time, he'll go even or slightly behind, and you're okay with that. I think Fudge is the best at that in this top lane pool that's in league right now. Um, 20-11% not bad. Damage per minute's okay. Percentage is pretty good for a top laner. A lot of solo kills. Vision's okay for a solo laner. And his champ pool's pretty consistent, all things considered. Renekton, like, not bad. Pretty good Camille when he pulls it out. Pretty good Cassante, all things considered. Alright Gnar, alright Jack, Gangplank. Pretty good Jax, pretty good Gwen, really good Ornn. Um, the only things he like loses often on are like the not so common picks. Like like Rumble, he only has a 50% win rate, which is common now, but it wasn't for a bit. Fiora really low. Karma when Karma top was a thing, really low. Olaf, he's not great at. Um, I believe this was when he was mid. I don't think there's an Yorick. Oh, Yorick is like kind of still in the meta. Not often, but it can be, but he's not great at. Tryndamere, 50-50. Mordekaiser, 50-50. He's very he's good at the stable picks and okay at the weird counter picks. So if you want someone that's just gonna slam like Renekton, Aatrox, Scion, Cassante, and you're in 4v5 games, and like, oh, now he has to play. Oh, I don't know what to play. Gnar. Gnar is also pretty common. Oh, I don't know what to play. Cho'Gath. It's also okay, Cho'Gath. I remember his Cho'Gath games last split, but Fudge is that player. And I think that's a good thing knowing the bot lane when we get to that. Moving on, contracts. One of my favorite junglers of all time. Oh, he's old. This is Unk. He's 26. One of my favorite junglers of all time. I know it was on Cloud9. I believe this Cloud9 roster, he went to quarterfinals, or was this the semifinal roster? Yeah, this was the quarterfinals. They almost beat WE. Um, but then he gets traded to the Golden Guardians. They wanted a bigger contract, and he goes pretty bad. And he goes to 100 Thieves Academy, and he goes to 100 Thieves, gets promoted, and he does pretty bad. And he goes to EG Academy, and they're like not great. And then he gets promoted to EG, and he does decent again. And then they move him to CLG, and CLG is a middle of the pack for most of its time until Energy comes in and they just win a championship. That's a funny picture. Um, but now they've got like every single player on this team still has a team for a reason, in my opinion. And I think contracts was one of the bright spots of this Energy roster. If I had to give three people credit, Dogla performed better than everyone expected. Contracts came back to a good form, and Ignar was like keeping FBI stable. And then Energy, does pretty bad the next split, and then he goes to Shopify, and they do okay, and then they do good, and then they do okay again, and like this Red Canids, I do not blame him. I blame Palafox for Red Canids. But I digress. I'll say Contracts is very mediocre career when you look at it, but he keeps getting picked up for a reason. It's because he's actually good. He's just really unlucky with the teams he gets. Excuse me, holy crap. Obviously, his record's not great. The CS per minute's really bad. I will give that huge flack. 5.5 is bad. The kill participation is pretty good. Usually down, but he's not. These CS numbers, yeah. You pretty often is getting first blood for his team though. Damage rate's not great. Percentage is okay. Solo kills isn't bad. Vision per minute could be better. But he has these really like you look at normal jungle picks and he's like not great. Like Lee Sin, oh Sidwani, Zin, Jarvan, wow. Trundle, that's not great. I'll give Viego credit. Viego's not great right now. Well, in pro play. Maokai, that's not great. Vi, that's pretty bad. Wukong, that's really bad. Skarner, that's pretty bad for him being like one of the Skarner guys. That's a single game win on Nocturne. But then he pulls out a 60% win rate Rengar, 61% Ivern, 54% Diana, Rek'Sai, Poppy, Elise, Nidalee, Kha'Zix with 27 games, by the way. He has some. His Malphite game was this weekend, by the way. Nunu, Zyra, which he doesn't play ever. Even Mundo, which is good right now. Kane, I don't think Kane is good, but whatever. Mumu, Kindred with 6 games. That's 4 games, 1 out of 6, I believe. These weird jungle picks, he's good on. Where's Brand? I just saw the Brand stat. Yeah, 1 game. These weird jungle picks, he's really good on. And if he was given more of these like carry weird jungle picks, I think he could run the league. But instead we put him on Malphite Xin Zhao duty against FlyQuest, and it's like, cool. You know what? I don't even blame the Malphite for this game. I think Zinni underperformed. And I think Fudge underperformed this series. Or that game. But Xin Zhao, not Xin Zhao stats. Technical difficulties. And apparently there we go. I'm about to say my PC shit itself. Um, I will give him some flack for this game. I think the whole team was underperforming this game, but I will be giving him flack for this game. This was, you guys got soul, and you still lost to this. No, Volley Bear. I digress. I think if the team gives him his weird niche picks he's good on, and lets the other team, rest of the team, conform to him, he can be really good. The problem is, we look at the rest of the team, that's not going to happen. We move on to Zinni. I don't know the Zinni. I'm going to be honest. I get here. Young kid, 20 years old, youngest player on the team, obviously. Um, Plays for LCK Challengers League on KT. Doesn't get promoted because they have BDD. So he comes over to America to play for Shopify. He has a good win rate. Once again, we're just importing the same stock standard Azir, Talia, Ari, Korean mid. And that's fine. But I feel like you need something different than just this stock standard stuff. And don't get me wrong. This is good Azir, really good Talia, really good Ari, really good Annie. Even his Ori's not bad. His Aurora's good. His Yone, his Jace, if he ever gets to pull it out. What is this 80%? Karma, sure, whatever. 4 game, Ultrasound doesn't matter. 4 games on Yasuo. He has good win rates. But is it good enough to compete with Quad, Quid, and Saint in APA? In my opinion, no. I think we're just drafting this. We're just bringing over the Korean mid to say we have a good Korean mid that's young and he has hands. When that's not what this team needs when you're drafting fudging contracts topside. You need a mid laner that's okay with going even to play around his jungle that wants to pick Kha'Zix and Graves and Nidalee. That's why I don't think this Zinni pickup is that great to me. Like it's good, it can work, but it means contracts has to get good on these like stock standard junglers and not his weird picks. And Fudge has to out need want less resources, so he's not allowed to want like Camille or Aatrox or Jace or Gangplank. Jax can have less resources, but he has to go this like Renekton, Cassante, Sion, which he's good at. But I know Fudge, he wants to play carry. Well, I don't know him personally. Like I know who we know who he is. He wants stuff to play for him. I digress. We move on to B-Boy. B-Boy. Oh my god. Not only is this guy old as well, 28. He's Jesus. I didn't even know he was this old. This man's been everywhere though. I don't know much of him like before he came to NA. Like Korea, China for a long time. JDG, um, goes to LATAM, goes to EU and plays for Misfits, goes to Brazil, goes back to LATAM for a straw, goes to Brazil, goes to NA. Is Astral in the tournament, by the way? Apparently not. Hmm. Okay, that's a different story. But whatever. I'm sorry, that was a very weird pivot. I just started thinking about Astral and had to look it up. But Astral, Pain, um, holy fuck, the Titan situation on Pain, by the way. If you've seen it, you know. And then he comes over to Shopify. And I think he's okay. He's literally middle of the pack, good CS, good kill participation, usually ahead, pretty good first blood participation, really good damage and damage percent. And his picks aren't bad, right? Like his single game of Vayne, I remember locking this in. But like 50-50 on Ezreal. Pretty good Zaya. 50-50 bars. Pretty okay Aphelios. Really good Lucian. His Lucian, he has a good Lucian game. Bad Zeri. Good Kalista. Good Jinx. Good Sivir. Holy shit, he has 0% win rate on Corki. Holy shit, he has an 88% win rate on Caitlyn. Is that a single loss? That's a single loss on Caitlyn. That's impressive. Good on Senna. Good on Ashe. Hasn't won a game on Yunari yet. Like he's a pretty middle of the pack AD carry that also wants, but he also wants a lot of resources. He wants to lock in Lucian Nami, you gank me 3 times spot lane, so I'm ahead and can carry this game. He wants, uh, like he's not like I'll pick Jhin, sit back and be utility or Ashe. Like he's good on Ashe. He's not good on the Jhin though. He's not gonna pick a champion like Corki, go even in lane and do well. He literally can't apparently. He needs he needs the team to play around him basically to do well. And that's kind of what I worry about with B-Boy, especially when Zinni also wants you to play around him. And also when Fudge doesn't always want you to play around him, but likes picking these weird champs that you play around. So it's interesting. I digress. We will move on to Seos. Seos is a Brazilian staple, if you're he's also old. But if you know Brazil, like you know this guy. He's played for a while, going in and out of teams. He was on Kaboom for a while. He's on Loud for a really long time. Um, and then he comes to Shopify when the LTA merger happens because that's just what you do in Brazil. But now he's a North American residency. So they got to keep him without having to give up Zinni or B-Boy because they're still Korean. Which, ooh, not want to get rid of that. I will say if you want to keep B-Boy long period time, they should work on getting him North American residency to get a different role in import slot. That's my opinion. Pretty good win rate, coming especially coming from Brazil, like over 50% in my opinion is pretty good. Not often ahead, but he's sport he doesn't need to be. Oh. Obviously, damage per minute's not great. A single solo kill. Vision's pretty good, warding constantly. And his champion pool isn't bad. He has a really good Braum, really, really good Nami. His Milio's really good too. I don't like Milio in pro play. He's one of the few pro players I will allow to play Milio. We don't talk about Yumi. Good Maokai when he can pull it out. Morgana's not often, but whatever. Lulu's pretty decent at. Tarek is one of those picks I wish was picked more because he's good at. But even like your typical engage, like not Rel, obviously, not Elser, but like Thresh, good. Braum, good. Leona, good. It's just anything that's like not like Nautilus Rel, he's pretty good at. I think look he's a good support, but he's not a shot caller. And I think that's what this team desperately needs. Especially when you have Zinni and B-Boy who I mean they speak English obviously. We've heard them speak English, but they're not great at it still. Contracts is an okay shot caller and Fudge is alright at it, but you want a more you want a Huhi in this role almost. Huhi is a very loud voice that wants to shot call. You want who's another player you want? That's another support that's real. Vulcan's a really vocal shot caller. Um, Core JJ is very vocal on teams he's on. If you're looking at other roles, like good examples of shot callers, Blabber is pretty decent. APA's been getting better. Inspired is a shot caller. Berserker likes to call shots for an AD carry. And Sales just isn't that to me. And we've seen that in comms. He's usually not, he's just kind of sitting there he's quiet and they see someone flash and he says, "Oh, Oriana flash." I just say this. Oriana flash. And he's like, "Okay, I have ult." And he goes in and everyone else is like, "All right, we follow him." And you're giving comms, but you're not saying anything meaningful. And that's what I worry about with this team. I think this team is going to struggle a lot with not enough voices, whereas think Lion is going to struggle with too many voices. All of that said, I appreciate you all very much for watching. I would love, as always, to hear your opinion. What do you think of these players? Do you think they are good? They have the caliber. So obviously, I always forget to end it before I start my end of episode rant. Um, I think this team should make it to playoffs unless Disguised pulls a weird upset, which they already did once. But I think if that doesn't happen, they should make it to playoffs. I expect third to fifth. I don't think they're the worst. I don't think they'll be sick, lose first round of playoffs. But I don't think they'll make it past third place. I don't think they'll make it to finals. Once again, actually continue on my end of episode rant. What do you guys think? Do you think this 5-man roster is better in some areas I give them credit for? Do you think some players I give credit, like Contracts and Fudge, are actually worse than I say? As always, leave your opinions in comments. I am very curious what you have to say. I love getting the banter with people on this game I love. If you like to watch a different video, there will be one here. I'm probably just gonna link the Lion video again because it's one I actually really like talking about, and I think it's one that we should look at more. Is how Lions roster will go. subscribe if you want to watch more. If you liked it, please like the video, and I will see you in the next video where we talk about the final team, Team Liquid. I'm very excited to talk about this one. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.